Hi, Howie Campbell here. Thanks for stopping by. This is part of a series of videos of phone conversations I had with the people involved in the making of my album Northern Roots, Southern Soul. I hope you like it. Today we'll be talking with the inimitable Kimble Funchess, the man that arranged the horns and played trumpet on the album. So Kimble Funchess, how are you?
It is well, Brother Howie. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, man. It sounds like you're on the road.
Yes, I am. I am
Are you
on the road.
headed to a gig?
Yeah. We were playing a job in Oxford. Ole Miss has a big game tomorrow, so this is a pregame party tonight.
Nice,
So
man.
correct.
So are you? Do you have a band? Are you going to do a small ensemble or what?
It's a five-piece rhythm, two backgrounds, and two horns,
Sweet.
tenor sax and trumpet.
Very nice, man. Well, I know you did a Louis Armstrong tribute not too long ago.
Yes, indeed, and it went really well, man.
Nice. Well, hey, Kimball, just out of curiosity, how did you get started in music, brother?
Man, I started playing the trumpet in the fifth grade. I actually saw Louis Armstrong on a television show,
Mm.
and he played a song. And when he played that last note, he ran back and did that laugh that he does,
Mm.
and opened his arms wide and kind of threw his head back as if to he's looking toward the sky, and he was laughing, and did that laugh, and the audience were applauding, and just the energy that he gave them and they gave it right back to him through the applause was just, man, I was like, man, whatever that is, I told my parents, whatever that is, I'll take a little bit of whatever that is.
Uh,
I'll
uh,
take that.
it really grabbed you, right?
Oh, yes. I can remember to this day, man.
Nice, man. So did your parents go right out and grab you a trumpet?
Man, that was probably like a couple of weeks away from band night. So we went to the introductory band night, and and I told my parents I wanted to play trumpet, and they made sure I got to that beginner band night. And
Eh,
my mother asked me if I was sure that I wanted to play the trumpet,
Uh,
and she and my dad supported me.
and
And
and that was 5 years old?
I, no, I was in the fifth grade.
Oh, fifth grade. I see. Okay.
Yes,
Well, that
yes.
around that age, my dad wanted me to take trumpet lessons. He played some trumpet, and he really loved Glenn Miller and people like that. So I took that trumpet to school, and I just for some reason it did not click with me. But I played in a big band in college up at Dutchess Community College in Poughkeepsie, New York, under the band director's name was uh, oh man, watch me space it out now. But anyway, he played in the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and he's leading the Sammy Kaye Orchestra right now. He was a trumpet player.
Wow,
Roger
that's
Thorpe. Roger Thorpe.
Roger Thorpe.
Yeah,
That
man.
name sounds familiar. I'll definitely Google that name.
He tells the story of how he got his start playing at the Ted Mack Amateur Hour, and he played that song Sugar, and it wasn't Stanley Turrentine's Sugar; it was some kind of a novelty tune.
Wow.
Yeah, very interesting. So trumpet, and you've stuck with trumpet all through these years, and you play flugelhorn as well, right?
Yes, man. When I got in beginner band, uh, and through middle school and high school, particularly middle school, that became my ID. That trumpet became my ID,
Mm.
and I knew I wanted to play trumpet. Some of my friends that we started beginner band together, they went on to play sports, basketball,
Mm.
football. I wanted to play football, but my mother, I had asthma, so she was like, "No, you're gonna stick with that trumpet."
Mm.
And a lot of my friends got out of band, and I stayed in band. and it quickly became my ID. I felt like I was, going to progress at a, at a
Mm.
really good rate, man. And there was a connect between the trumpet and myself, and I just really enjoyed doing it.
So,
And
so that was
it
fifth
helped me
grade.
through middle school, high
Hmm.
school, and college.
Okay, and college too, right? So,
Yeah.
when did you actually start playing professionally? Like gigging out and things.
Howie, believe it or not, in high school, our
Okay.
high school band director have events at church. We would go and play at Catholic churches. We had what we call our brass and woodwind ensemble
Hmm.
in high school.
Hmm.
And so sometimes the brass ensemble would play at a church,
Hmm.
um, and sometimes the woodwind ensembles would play, and
Hmm.
we just found different events in the community to
Hmm.
perform
And so,
and participate in outside of just our marching and concert band and jazz band in school. So it just gave us other opportunities to perform in the
great,
community and just to play the instrument outside of class. And that
nice,
became part of
nice.
the culture, man.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I got bit by the bug early.
So, where was this? Where did you grow up?
Crystal Springs, Mississippi.
Okay. How far is that in relation to Jackson?
Actually, it's 30 miles south of Jackson.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
And so, was there a big music culture in your town then, or?
Well, I'll say that Copiah County has the connection with the great Robert Johnson, to name
Aha.
a few, and
So did you play
so
blues? Did you play some blues on trumpet?
man, we did it all. I always tell you that in Mississippi, you pretty much have to be all purpose,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because you may get a call to play with a country and western artist. That's how we got our first opportunity to perform with Charlie Pride,
Really?
Paul Overstreet, Marty Stewart. So Uh, you may get a call for gospel. You may get a call for some jazz. You may get a call for a whole lot of blues. But
Nice.
I think of it as all purpose. You got to be ready to play
Mm-hmm.
everything here in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Well, speaking of playing all types of music, I was at the Jackson State Auditorium when Dorothy Moore was honored with her plaque on the Blues Trail,
Yes.
and there was Kimble Funchess up on the stage with the horn section. Uh, did you was it, that wasn't your first time with playing with Dorothy, was it?
No, that was not. That wasn't the first time. Early on in my career, we would work with Miss Moore quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and on her last project, her latest project called "Happy with the One I've Got Now." I did the horn arrangements for the wind instruments, the strings,
Hmm.
as well as the rhythm, so rhythm chart. So we all had just a great team that worked on that project. So Ms. Moore has been investing in a lot of us um, musicians that have come through the ranks there in Mississippi for a long time. So she's always fun to work with,
Mm-hmm.
um, just very positive, and just fun to work with, man. You enjoy it.
Well, her voice is tremendous. I mean, so you do more than just trumpet; you do arranging as well.
Yes, arranging strings, horns,
Hmm.
rhythm, man. We just try to grow in grace, man, and just
Hmm.
be good stewards of the opportunities that we're being given, man. Just try to be good stewards with the wealth of opportunities
That's
that come
awesome.
our way.
That's awesome. So did you go to school for music, Kimball?
I did. I sticking with trumpet in middle school and high school. Afforded me the opportunity to earn a scholarship to Jackson State University,
Hmm.
the Jackson State University, and I attended undergrad and grad school at Jackson State. So I have a
Okay.
bachelor of music education and a master of music education.
Oh, wow. And so that's what you do for a living now, right? You teach music.
Yes, I'm a band director. And we also, how we earned a master's in school counseling. So we love being able to infuse the arts and the mental health nurturing into the daily educational setting for our young professionals, the students at school.
That's fantastic, Kimball. And so, and you have I noticed you have a separate Facebook page for something to do with that. What's it called?
Yes, we have the Kimble Funchess music, which is also connected to mindfulness through music.
That's
And
what it is.
it's also on LinkedIn as
Mhm.
mindfulness through music.
Okay. All right. Mindfulness through music. And that is basically you're working with young people. I mean, hopefully to keep them off the streets, give them a better future, better outlook on life, right?
Yes, man, and just to realize that music transcends just the class outside of the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
That there are performance opportunities. There's music as a business.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to shows, you know people who are skilled in lighting and sound, and so there's so many opportunities that stem from just the first interaction in music. There's so many career opportunities for people in music. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just the performers. So there are so many opportunities, and we just like to try make the connect for the young professionals to find their way in music, and then whichever career they choose, just use those same skill sets that we work on in music every day
Mm-hmm.
in their early stages in life to choose the path or help navigate them through the process in terms of which career they'll choose later.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I don't live in Mississippi. I've only been there a few times, but I had an opportunity to record a fantastic album over at AVNA Entertainment with Tom Easley. And Tom and I were over at a radio station being interviewed, and we ended up going to this little restaurant and ran into somebody. I mean, I know you're making an impact on students' lives because we ran into a young lady who said she was in your band. Do you remember that? Remember I gave you a call?
I do remember that. I remember you mentioning that, yeah. And I thought that was the coolest thing, man. It was just so encouraging
Yeah.
to hear her excited about being a good citizen, working um, while she worked her way through college. She's working a job and going to college. I thought that was so cool,
What
man.
a sweet young lady, man, and she was thrilled that we knew you, and you obviously made an impact on her life, man. Yeah, what a bright young lady. But how did so we connected through that recording of Northern Roots, Southern Soul, and Tom Easley. Basically, I was back in March. Debbie and I started the project in June of 21, and then we returned in March of 22 to record 8 more songs. Those first 4 sounded so good. I said, "Man, we can't leave it here. We got to do a whole album." So we came back in March and recorded those songs, and man, they sounded fantastic. And then Tom looks at me one day. He says, "You know, Howie, these songs are screaming for horns." And and I looked at him with a blank look in my eyes. I was kind of expecting to come down and do a bunch of guitar work and everything, and then he added, it became keyboard heavy and rhythm section heavy, and the Jackson sound, right? And then when you
Yes,
said horns, it was like, I hadn't considered horns. And he started telling me about the Muscle Shoals horn section, and who was the fella? Uh,
Harrison Calloway
Harrison Calloway. Yeah,
Jr., the Harrison Calloway Jr. Yes,
he was the go-to horn arranger there at Muscle Shoals, and he did work at Malico, right?
yes, Ace Records as well. Just man, he was just phenomenal. He's a musician's musician.
The legendary Harrison Calloway. And
Yeah.
so you worked with him, right? Were you sort of like an understudy, or how did that work?
Yes, indeed. Harrison, Mr. Calloway was pretty much he introduced me to arranging. I used to do copying for him.
Mm-hmm.
He opened the door for me to, not only study his charts, but to do copying when he would do the projects at Malico. Even before we started recording some of the sessions, I would have the opportunity to copy the parts.
Hmm.
And so I would be able to sit in on the session and just listen in. So I remember being in the back of the room or right at the board with Brother Will Stevenson
Hmm.
when he would be recording. And I would just sit there quiet. I remember I was in college just looking like, man, wow, these
Hmm.
guys are nailing it. And just being a fly on the wall, I'll never forget just hearing the sound and seeing how they worked.
Hmm.
And that was just amazing, just to copy the parts and see how I'm looking at these parts. And then when we see them, and that was before finale, everything was
I was
handwritten.
going to say you were copying those by hand, weren't you?
Yes, and I remember using the calligraphy pen. If I had enough time and there were a few days before the session, I would do it with a calligraphy pen to try and give it that hip look. And so
Man,
but a lot of
some of those charts are artwork. I mean,
yes,
I
yes,
love looking at that stuff.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
One of the cool things about being in that big band with Roger Thorpe was he knew those arrangers. We used to do real authentic Neil Hefti charts and different things like that,
Still hefty, yes.
and just some fantastic things. But so what do you have any favorite memories of those? Any favorite sessions or anything?
Of those sessions,
Yeah.
man, each one was unique in the sense that the music required them to have. You always heard the signature sound.
Hmm.
You heard their signature sound. You pretty much you got to know their sound. But the different artists and the different music will pretty much require them to deliver a certain style of playing,
Hmm.
the voicing, the the instrumentation or the configuration, the horn configuration,
Hmm.
and just hearing the Barry being just crisp and just the bottom, or listening to the tenor and the trumpet and hearing the trombone, how everything just was just the tightness of the section.
Hmm.
And also sometimes if they had to the tenor player doubled on flute or something, just
Hmm.
hearing the different sounds in there, man. And
No. Oh yeah.
yeah, they were just tight. And just to hear that and know that there was no guesswork for them. They were laying it down, man.
Hmm.
So just to be able to hear the Muscle Shoals horns
Hmm.
uh, early on for me in my career. Now that I'm older, because this was when I was in college, but just to reflect on that now,
Hmm.
it blows me away to think about that, to be able to hear that and try to emulate that. The Memphis horns were always a favorite of mine.
Hmm.
With that style of playing, I call them the lazy horns, the sleepy horns, the
Oh
kind of
yeah.
lazy hip sound.
Hmm.
Um, of course, I just think, just having that music early on, like I said, in college, being able to perform with the spinners, fifth dimension, in college. A lot of our professors, if artists came through town and they needed horns, if we were in jazz band, whoever they felt like were working, that was working on the music,
Hmm.
Howie, they would give those students an opportunity to perform with those artists when they came to town. So to do
Sweet.
that in college,
Hmm.
and you know, uh,
What an opportunity, man. That's
yeah,
awesome. That's
playing
awesome.
with Johnny Taylor before I graduated college, that was just like, it just I don't know. I got bit by that bug early, and going out there and experiencing that early on just kind of gave me the drive to want to not just be the horn player, but to try as best I could, learn as much as I could.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I would see guys who would contract and subcontract and create jobs for other musicians instead of being the one who would wait for the call. So
Hmm.
just seeing those older gentlemen um, model that behavior, and so I would emulate that, and it
Hmm.
made me want to be the guy that would do the contracting and reach, kind of reaching out for opportunities for the section to perform, and just you know subcontracting horns,
Hmm.
or
Hmm. Hmm.
getting horns for sessions, and doing the arrangements, and just kind of just try to create our own way, man, and earn our own way.
Sure. Well, you did a great job putting a horn section, and those charts, those arrangements on my songs were just killer, man. They just really, really nailed it. In fact, it was funny when we were tracking there. We were listening back, and Tom said, Kimble said he'd come in. He wants to come in and give it a listen. He said that you were real excited about what we were doing over there. And was that the first session you played at Tom's?
That was the first session. But I
So,
was very familiar with his work
hmm
and the team of gentlemen that you had there.
hmm
Very familiar with their work. So
hmm
when I came out the first time to just listen, man, it was just the energy was just so great in the room,
oh
man.
man, oh yeah, yeah, and the camaraderie, the fellowship,
Yeah.
it's just
Yes.
incredible. So yeah, right from the first, man, when I first came in June of 21, it felt like, wow, I just stepped into a room full of friends. It was amazing.
That's right.
And when
That's
you
right.
came in, same thing, man. It was like, sitting there listening to the songs, watching you bopping your head. Oh, while we were tracking. Yeah, that's when you first came into
Yes.
the tracking room. And
Yes.
and it looked like you were digging it.
Oh no, no, I was, and it was so great to be able to connect with the music in that sense because it was just right. The music was great music, and then at the same time, your creative ideas started to flow when you're listening. You're like, oh my God, do I need to write this down? Do I
Mm-hmm.
need to sketch something out because I don't want to forget what I'm hearing right now?
Uh-huh.
And and
Uh-huh.
you're listening and say, I got to make sure I stay out of the way of the lead vocals,
Mm-hmm.
where the background vocals are,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening in the rhythm, and try to find a little space and exist in that space without doing too much, but be very tasteful, so you all would be pleased with what we did. And
Well,
just
pleased is an understatement, man. You just knocked it out of the park. It was awesome. Now, how do you like the way they all turned out? Do they
oh my
sound
gracious,
do they sound like
I love
horns?
it, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
When we first finished the cutting the horns that night,
Mm-hmm.
that and we kind of heard some of the playback, I was like, wow, they came out pretty good. And I'm like, man, I hope they're going to be pleased with it.
Mm-hmm.
And and then I remember coming out to one of the listening sessions, and that's another thing. Y'all invited us out to the listening session. You were like, hey man, we're taking a listen. Come on out, and to be able to hear it and see as it went through the process,
Mm-hmm.
it was just so cool, man. And then to hear the finished product and to reflect back on what was happening while we were cutting, just the energy in the room
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Man,
the phrasing.
oh man, having the horn section and those phenomenal ladies singing background vocals, just that album is way beyond what I had originally intended. It just
Man, those background singers, oh my gracious,
oh.
they were wonderful. Man, the rhythm section
Mm-hmm.
and look, Deb and you, Howie, everybody, just it was just a team effort.
It was a perfect
With
team.
the engineering team, just man, Tom and Jerry, just everybody,
Yeah, man.
everybody existed in their role, man.
Yeah,
It
it
was
makes
just
me
so
want to come
cool.
back and do it all over again. Do another one. You know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this one is going to soar. And what's interesting, Kimball, is I'm getting some really good promotion, airplay and things in Mississippi. Do you know Randy Wildman Brown?
Yes, I do, and he'll know me from Harrison Calloway.
W-
Yes, Mr.
Well,
Brown, and I know him as well. Yes,
well,
his,
Thomasine
his,
Anderson, one of the background ladies, she actually
yeah,
sang. She actually sang on a couple of his songs. But man, he is really pumped about the album. He's been playing it over and over again on his Tuesday night show there. Um,
that's awesome. That's him.
yeah,
That's
man.
him.
Oh, he's a great guy. Love Randy.
Yes.
So what is Kimball up to these days? Teaching in school, working with kids, and keeping your gigging schedule up, right?
Yes, man. It's wearing quite a few hats, and
It sounds
just
it.
trying to reposition myself to stay relevant.
And not the least of which is taking care of that beautiful family you've been blessed with.
Oh man, that's a blessing from God, and that's motivation too. It helps it all make sense.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And I know you know what we're talking about there.
Certainly do, man. Hey,
Yes.
I've only met your one of your children, your daughter there, and she's what a sweetheart, man. What a sweetheart. But you've got a sweet personality yourself, man. You are a
Yes.
gentle soul, and I'm sure the kids really respond well to that.
And it's just I think just growing up in Crystal Springs, Mississippi, man, a lot of people would, just to be able to do what we're doing, man, which is, it's a blessing. And
Mm-hmm.
how I have to say this, man, my mother was a custodian.
Mm-hmm.
My dad worked at Western Auto. I have, are you ready for this?
Yeah, man.
There, there were 13 of us that my parents had.
Wow, man.
Yes,
That's
yes,
twice as
yes,
many as we
yes,
had. That's a lot of kids,
yes,
man.
yes,
And your parents were both hardworking folks and
yes.
took good care of you.
Nine girls, and truthfully 4 boys.
Wow.
And my brothers and sisters were older than me and my baby sister. By the time we came along, they were grown. Just like when we got ready to go and get my instrument, my oldest brother went with my parents, to get the instrument. And I never forgot that. When I would go and try out for Lions Band on
Mm,
Saturdays
mm,
in high school,
mm.
my older brothers and my older sisters would take me.
Wow.
Those
Nice.
were the experiences that, I had. But the way my parents carried themselves,
Hmm.
nobody would ever think, that my mother was a custodian or my dad worked at Western Auto. So they were just, they were well respected in the community. And, that they would always impart on us how we need to conduct ourselves. Sometimes you can't get caught up in the feelings. And if you agree to do something for someone, don't complain about it.
Hmm.
You agree to do it for that. So you,
Man,
you get it done for that, and you give your best.
excellent.
So
Excellent,
those are the
man. That
kind of
is
things
that
that,
is excellent. Hey, kids today need to hear that for sure, man. I'm glad you're there in the public schools telling them that. Debbie and I travel around the country, just sharing Jesus and things. And one of our favorite places was up in Orange Mound in Memphis, Tennessee. And
yes.
yeah, are you familiar with Orange Mound? Sweet.
I've heard of it. I've heard of.
Yeah, everybody told me, make sure you're out of there by dark and blah, blah, blah. But man, I'll tell you what, we had a great time with like 60 young people who come into this outreach ministry every day after school. And man, what a
Yes.
sweet bunch of folks. And my kids grew up in a Chinese church in Memphis. So we've been, you talk about multicultural or cross-cultural or whatever.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I mean, what you're saying about your folks, that
Yes.
transcends all sorts of barriers that people put up, color, education,
Yes.
financial, we're all
Yes.
people. And if we would treat each other like people and just, love on one another, that would take care of a whole lot of garbage. In fact, one of the things that I like to say about this album, Northern Roots, Southern Soul, people
Yes.
from the North and the South are together on this. People from different
Yes.
races and ethnic, backgrounds, whatever. So it's a unifying kind of music has the ability to bring people together, man.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
exactly what I intended for this album. There's no real heavy downer lyrics, There's no
Yeah.
heavy
Yeah. Yeah.
philosophies and things. It's good, clean fun.
Yeah, man. Yes.
And that
Yes.
and that really comes
Yes.
across. And everybody that played on the, performed on the album, brought that to the album. You know what I mean? From
Yes.
Jewel Bass to Monica to Vince and Gary,
Thomasine. Yes, man.
Thomasine, you know,
Yes.
Kimble Funchess. Even Tom Easley, man, he's just Gary
Yeah.
O'Neill. Everybody is just super super friendly and was just a great time. Kimball, so glad that you came and were a part of this whole thing, man.
I would love to close with mentioning I'm releasing original music, instrumental music, if you will, at the
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel,
Nice.
and what we're doing at the School for the Blind and for the Deaf there.
Awesome, man. So your original material is with that blind and deaf aspect, or is
Oh no,
that
I was just in terms of what we were teaching.
okay?
My original music kind of lines up with the mindfulness through music,
Mm-hmm.
music for relaxation, helping you get your day started,
Mm-hmm.
helping you to value focus. And sometimes we're on the move so much as you know how we are in the nature of this business,
Mm-hmm.
and you find yourself moving all the time. You
Mm-hmm.
you you push yourself to work hard till you get a moment where you can relax, and then you take a deep breath and you keep going.
Hey,
And
well,
sometimes
that's
we
interesting.
forget we forget to take care
Yeah,
or
yeah.
take a moment and kind of relax and enjoy the journey as we go. So,
That's a good point, man. That's a really good
and a
point.
lot of people would tell me, they say, Kimble, you recorded with a lot of people. When are you going to do some instrumental? When are you going to do some music? So this music kind of fits in the scheme of, you know, the music, I would say that's in me in terms of what fit the personality of Kimble, So that's, I'm excited about that.
Excellent, man. Hey, I used to play at a 5 night a week at a ranch resort up in upstate New York, and
Yeah.
and then I had a music store during the day, and so I was going all the time. So
Whoa.
so in order to unwind and get some sleep at night, I would go home and I would put on some John Coltrane, some of his mellow stuff, or
Yeah.
some just some of that kind of just relaxing instrumental music like you're talking about, McCoy Tyner, Billy Evans, whatever,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
just unwind. So that's what your music is. It's kind of meditative, sort of.
I would like to think of it as that. I would like to think of it as that.
Hmm.
And,
So
and,
is it you with a rhythm section or you with a piano or?
it has piano and bass in there. And the first two pieces is pretty much, like a studio track,
Mhm.
but you can elements there. And as I move, I add more live instruments. So it's,
Mhm.
we're going to incorporate what we do in terms of the instrumentation with the Louis Armstrong tribute and with the gospel. I do gospel brunches, and
Mhm.
so those kinds of elements would be present in the music because some of the music, the original music, I'm already playing in the brunches,
Mhm.
and people are responding to it, and they'll ask, "So what is that?" And I say, "Great, let's keep pressing on." You can find it on iTunes, Spotify.
Nice.
Uh,
Is that
so
the name of a song or is that the name of your album? Keep pressing on.
yes, keep pressing on. And I just started releasing one single at a time. So we have
Sweet.
two singles out.
Mhm.
The first one was released, Keep Pressing On was released in February of this year. And then we have Memories,
Mhm.
which is the second one that was released August 30th, I think August 31st. And we're getting ready to release a third one. And by the time we get a certain number out, we'll just reintroduce it as a full project. And we also have the YouTube channel.
Okay. How do they find you on YouTube or how do they find you online, Kimball?
On YouTube, it would be Kimble Funchess. Um, and you just type in Kimble Funchess, and you see the YouTube channel come up.
Mhm.
On on iTunes, you type in Kimble Funchess, and the songs will come up. iTunes or Spotify,
Mhm.
Apple Music, and what have you. You can even Shazam is there, and we're just now starting to just kind of try to create the following based up on work that we've done.
Nice.
Hopefully, people can make a connect with,
Mhm.
hearing Kimble on projects such as the great Howie Campbell.
There you go.
Yes, and then they can say that's the guy Howie gave a chance to do the horns from Mississippi, and then they can say, well, let's see what else he's doing.
Oh yeah,
And
man. Absolutely.
so
Well,
that's
that's part of what this interview is about. To get
yeah.
people aware, make more people aware of the legendary Kimble Funchess. And by the way, do you have a website?
Yes, Kimble Funchess Music dot
.com.
com.
Okay.
And you can also go to, like I said, on LinkedIn
Hmm.
at for mindfulness through music,
Okay. Great.
and and that's pretty much it.
Sweet, man. Sweet. Well, Kimball, I know you're probably just about to your gig, but this has been a great interview. Thanks so much for doing this with me, brother.
Howie, thank you for the opportunity to be a part of your project, man, and letting us make music together, man. And thank you for all you do. Thank you for your energy. First time meeting you when we started this project, and I felt like I've been knowing you for a long time. And then, of
Likewise.
course, Mr. Tom Easley,
Hmm.
Jerry, and Will Brown, Doug Thomason's tenor. He doubled on tenor and Barry, and then Will Brown on trombone,
Mm.
myself on trumpet and flugelhorn, and
Hmm.
you gave us all a chance to be a part of that. And the energy I just think came through the music that you all laid down.
Man, you guys blessed us richly, brother. It was a great team effort, and again, I am really blessed that you are a part not only of the project but my life. Love you, man.
Very much to you. Thank you for all you do. Keep pressing on.
Yeah, you too, my brother, and I hope you have a great gig tonight.